Hey everyone, this is Kerrie from Conversations at Kerrie's Corner. How are you today on this beautiful but very, very dangerously hot Texas day? I'm Kerrie. I'm the owner of Conversations at Kerrie's Corner. I'm having a nice coffee today, trying to keep cool because we are 112 degrees with the index today. Temperature is hovering at 99 and the heat index is putting us well over 100. Everything is in danger. And so I wanted to talk about a subject that is important right now because of this terrible heat wave that we are in. And that's the safety and care of animals and humans in this terrible, horrific heat. A lot of people will disagree with me with this opinion, but I had a service animal, and I've had several animals. I still have animals. I have a nest of baby birds on the patio today, and I'm not sure they're going to make it today because it is so incredibly hot. I have had animals my whole life. I don't look at them as animals. I look at them as family members. And it's our responsibility to take care of our family members. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Conversations at Kerrie's Corner, it's about these type of subjects that are important to our society, that we all deal with, that we all need to be aware of. We have such a terrible divide in our country that the reason I started these podcasts were to bring up subjects that are important like this, that I can talk about, and then you can take and potentially forward this video to somebody else who either doesn't agree or agrees, or just to pay it forward, to start talking about it with your circle of influence. And then, you never know. You could have a change of opinion. I could get a response back from somebody, and I could get a change of opinion. That's how you make change happen. And we have forgotten in this amazing country of the United States how to talk to each other. We don't talk to each other anymore. We yell at each other. We certainly don't communicate. And when there is a conversation, it's normally a yelling match. It's not a rational, let's sit down and discuss the question or the problem or whatever it may be. It's, this is my side, this is your side, and there's arguing and yelling, and sometimes there's even violence, and we got to get away from that. We got to get back to the table and talk to each other about these things so we can bridge this divide, because this is where real change happens, is when you can sit down and have a conversation with somebody about the things that affect our societies, not just here, but all over the world too. I am passionate about animals. Always have been. I just lost my beautiful service dog 10 months ago. I'm babysitting my granddogs. I love animals. I'm in the middle of rebuilding a koi pond because I lost all my koi to an outbreak of disease. I just love animals. I love the everything about animals. They're scary, some of them, but I think animals have to be treated the way we treat other animals. We're animals. We're just human beings. We're a different type of animal. And I think there has to be significant fines when there's abuse. Like today, I'm in my home and I can hear dogs in the next neighborhood, and they've been barking for hours. So they're obviously out in this terrible heat. Nobody is home. Whether it's an accident or not, I don't really care. I'm going to give them about another 35 minutes. And if I still hear them, I'm going to call the county. Because those animals don't deserve to die from heat stroke. And they will. If they've been out in it all day, even with shade, even with water, even with some sort of shelter, they could die. And that's not okay. We hear all the time about people leaving their kids in the car. Can you imagine? I mean, just imagine how horrific that would be. You can't get out of somewhere and it gets hotter and hotter, and it's like being in an oven, and eventually you just bake to death. Think about that. Think about the terror and the fear that an animal would have, or an innocent child would have, because they can't get out of it. I just don't think there's an excuse. Now, accidents happen, and I realize accidents happen, but I think if an accident happens in this regard, there has to be significant fines, there has to be community service, and there has to be some sort of system to where it affects the person enough that they will never make this kind of mistake again. I don't think they need to be charged with a felony, but I think they need to have serious repercussions, especially if the animal passes away. Now, if this is malice or forethought and it's done deliberately, or it's done because they just don't give a shit, or this is the second time, no second chances. Felony, long time jail, massive fine, never own another animal. I think there should be an abuse line, just like there is a pedophile. I think there needs to be an animal abuser notification, so those people are identified. Because you know what? Animal abusers normally go further than just abusing animals. This is a proven fact. It's part of the makeup of antisocial behavior and mass murderers. So should we be recording somebody who's mutilating animals? Oh, yes, we should. I don't want to live next to somebody like that, especially if I have an animal or if I have children at home. So I think there has to be a massive warning if it's a mistake, massive penalty, fine. But if it's with malice or a secondary mistake, I'm sorry, you don't get a second chance, because that animal or that child is not going to get a second chance, are they? They're probably going to die. And that's not okay under any circumstances. I don't know how to come about this process. Obviously, something that we as a society in this country need to deal with. I know there are a lot steeper fines overseas for this kind of thing than there are here. And I think we need to look at what those are overseas and then come up with a plan that is implemented here. And I do think we in the society need to be notified when there is a animal abuser, just like we are when they have to register because they're a child abuser or they're a pedophile. I'm sorry, I don't see the difference, frankly. And I know a lot of people jump down my throat on that, but I actually don't believe that animals are just animals. I think they're part of the family, especially animals who depend on humans for everything. Our domesticated animals. They depend on us for everything. Our dogs, our cats, our birds, our fish, our hamsters, our snakes, our reptiles, whatever. If you abuse an animal like that, you should be fined significantly. And if you do it multiple times, that's it. You will go to jail. This is a really hot button subject, and there's been a lot of people that have championed animal abuse, and they've done a really good job, but we haven't gone far enough. We have not gone far enough to enforce and punish all those people who, with malice and forethought, abuse animals. Just imagine the outrage if that was a human being. I don't see the difference. I really don't. Especially domesticated animals. It's a little different with wild animals because that's Mother Nature, like these tiny little birds. I don't know if they'll survive. The mom is doing everything she can to help them survive, but they're only 2 days old and it is this blazing, blazing heat. And as humans, we can't interfere because if we did, then it could potentially make her abandon these babies, and then they certainly would die. Domesticated animals deserve the same consideration as human beings, babies, because they depend on us for everything: food, shelter, water, everything, care. And I think the only time, and I don't even want to use the word excusable, only time there should ever be leniency if it is truly an honest mistake. I'd love to know what you think about this. Do you feel that this is too harsh? Do you have a suggestion? How do we get this to a priority here in this country? We do have shelters, and shelters are doing a great job, but there's not enough of them, and there's certainly not enough no-kill shelters. I think if you're a human being and you have an animal, and I see this all the time, and you take that animal and you abandon it out into the wild, you should go straight to jail for a very long time. Imagine the terror that that animal who's been in your home, who loves you unconditionally, and you just take and drop anywhere because you're too chicken shit to take care of that beautiful soul who's here to love you unconditionally. Put yourself in the animal's shoe. Put yourself in their position. Can you imagine if you were abandoned? Couldn't take care of yourself, couldn't feed yourself, couldn't shelter for yourself? Not to mention how it would feel, that feeling of abandonment. I think it's absolutely horrific. And we've got to stop it. There's too many animals that are purchased and then the owners realize, oh, I can't do this, or whatever the circumstances are. Then find a rescue and please take the dog or the cat or whatever it is somewhere where they can be taken care of and found a new home. Please do not leave them on the streets. The likelihood that they're going to survive is very, very small. And the trauma, well, the trauma would just be, I can't even think about how much trauma it would cause that poor animal. And what have they done? I mean, really, what could they have done that is so bad for you to warrant putting him in a car, taking him to a remote spot, and then just saying, get out, shitting all over them and not taking care of them when they've given you unconditional love? I think it's so cowardice, and I think the fine should be massive. Massive financially and with long prison time. Let me know what you think about this. You think I'm way off base? There's a lot of you that will, and that's okay. You don't have to agree. I'm not asking you to agree. I'm asking you to talk about the issue and talk with those people in your circle of influence, and let's put all of our efforts together to make positive change, to hold people accountable and protect these precious beings that are here depending on all of us. Conversations at Kerrie's Corner, that's what we do. We just talk about these type of issues. Hope that you will share, hope that you'll have a conversation, and hope that somewhere along the line, this will all help to make change in our society, to bridge this terrible divide that we all face right now before our country completely and totally implodes. We got to get back to the table to talk to each other about so many things. Maybe this is a good starting point, something that we all can understand, and most of us have experienced pet ownership, and make lasting, significant change for these beautiful creatures that are here that love us unconditionally. I want to leave you with one thought. Conversations at Kerrie's Corner is inspired by, and when I think of this, I think of beautiful Americana diners. You know, you would go into a diner and there'd be lots of chrome, lots of great colors, and they'd be beautiful. They'd take your breath away. There'd be this long bar that you could sit down and have a coffee or a slice of pie or pancakes or whatever. And inevitably, you'd sit next to somebody that you didn't know. And when you left, you had a new friend. Potentially you had a new position on something because you had this great conversation. That's what I hope you think about when you think of Kerrie's Korner. Just a really safe, beautiful place to have a conversation, come together, and make real change. Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Kerrie, and I will see you in our next podcast. God bless everyone. Stay safe. Please, before we go, could I ask you to please pray for all of those people in Kerrville, especially today in this terrible, terrible, dangerous heat. They're out there still searching for lost souls. I pray you'll pray for them, keep them safe. Nobody gets sick, nobody gets heat stroke, and then we get through this, and that we find every single lost person. There are so many still. It's so incredibly sad. We'll see you the next time at Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. Have a great Tuesday.